Good evening and welcome to our Reach for Life edition of Nazarene Digest. I'm your host, Kalisha Aziz, and I'd like to thank you for tuning in this evening. If you're joining us for the first time, Reach for Life is an HIV and AIDS education and outreach program focused on HIV and AIDS, but we don't just stop there. No, we go further and we tackle other issues, other social issues that affect particularly young people, like suicide, drug abuse, and that's one of the things that we'll be talking about. Teenage pregnancy, peer pressure, any of those things that affect youths. We are not afraid to tackle those issues. We deal with those things, and also we like to focus on HIV. Our aim is to lower the number of new cases of HIV and AIDS to zero. And for that, we use Bible principles to achieve it. Reach for Life is sponsored by Victory International Ministries, that's stationed in the United States of America, and it's also sponsored in collaboration with the North Rhineville Church of the Nazarene. It is not, as you might think, limited to Nazarene denomination. It is actually non-denominational. So you can be any denomination. You can not even belong to a denomination, and you can be a part of the movement because our focus is to reduce the number of new cases of HIV and AIDS to zero. But before we start the program as usual, I'd like to begin with a word of prayer. So let us pause as we give thanks to God for His goodness. Our Father and God, I'd like to thank you first of all for the opportunity to be here. Thank you for waking me up this morning. Thank you for giving me the strength and the health to be here to spread your word. I pray that whatever I say and whatever I do is done to your honor and to your glory only. In Jesus' name, amen. So for this evening's program, I want to talk about money. Money is one of those topics that we don't like to discuss, especially in relationships, and it causes a lot of problems. As a matter of fact, I think that a lot of breakups are due to issues relating to money. But for that, I'd like us to go to our story on page 504 in the Reach for Life book. And if you don't have one, at the end of the program, I can tell you how you can get a free copy of a Reach for Life book. 504. The theme is money, and the story is titled Starlight or Firelight. You can see the stars clearly when you're next to a big fire. In the same way, it's easy to drift from your devotion to God and your faith in Him when you're captivated by money. Young people often think that having cool clothing, cell phones, and other stuff makes them cool. Do you dream of getting more money to get good things in life? Or so that you can attract people and so that you can attract respect? If this is your if this is your major goal, then you are in real danger. Why are they saying these things about money? Well, Paul was talking to a young man, and usually it's money, having a money problem or a problem not having money is something that people who don't have jobs face. Young people don't necessarily have a big money problem in that their parents provide much of their money, but then they might want their additional stuff that their parents might not want to give to them, so they would want to have their own money to get these things. And this is where it becomes dangerous because the Bible warns us, and we'll talk about it, that you can have the wrong focus when it comes to money. And if you become a lover of money, then you find yourself in deep trouble. So let's go to what Timothy was told in the book of 1 Timothy, or the letter of 1 Timothy, chapter 6. And we're reading from, well, we'll go through a little bit, verse 6 to 11 and 7 to 19. 1 Timothy, chapter 6. From verse 6, but godliness with contentment is great gain. For we brought nothing into this world, and we can take nothing out of it. Timothy was being warned here by Paul to seek things that are going to profit him, because you're going to fortify yourself with all these things in this world and you can't do anything with it. And when you die, then it is left for people to fight over. And it reminds me of a little story. Well, not a story, something that happened in real life recently. Some of you may know that Prince, the icon, pop icon, he died the other day. And it was revealed that he did not leave a will. So what happens is that everybody is going to be fighting over his estate. He has brothers and sisters who are coming out of the woods now, claiming that they're related to him. Children saying that, oh, I'm Prince's son or I'm Prince's daughter. And then there's a whole scuffle over DNA testing and all these, excuse me, and all of these things. So what I'm trying to say is, when you are dead and gone, you might enjoy your money while you're alive, but when you're gone, you can't enjoy it and you can't take it where you're going. So don't focus on these transient and material things. You're tasked with focusing on the things that matter, that really matter, that are going to help you in the long run. Verse 8, but if we have food and clothing, we will be content with that. People who want to get rich fall into deep temptation and a trap that many foolish and harmful desires and plunge men into ruin and destruction. For the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil. Some people, eager for money, have wandered far from their faith and pierced themselves with many griefs. And verse 11, but you, man of God, flee from all this and pursue righteousness, godliness, faith, love, endurance, and gentleness. So Paul is telling him, and it doesn't even have to do, it's not really age, because of his age. It can apply for anybody. He's saying that what you must seek after are godliness, righteousness, faith, love, endurance. And this is not the first place or the only place that these sorts of things are mentioned. Remember Galatians 5, when we talk about the fruits of the Spirit? So they're reinforcing that these are the things that you need to seek after. These are the things that are going to matter. Your character, how you are, and how you relate to people, because it also talks about how you must relate to people. This is telling you what to do. As far as money is concerned, you're not supposed to be worried about it and pursuing it and getting lost in that. But what you should seek is, are these things these things, gentleness and love and that sort of thing, the fruits of the Spirit. Also, how he's telling you to live is, command those rich in this present world not to be arrogant, not to put their hope in wealth, but to put their hope in God, who richly provides us with everything for our enjoyment. Simply saying, I mean, it's clear as day there, don't put your faith and your trust in wealth. Those things can disappear before you know it, before your eyes. They can disappear. And you're going to be left, you're going to be left wanting. You're going to be left there with nothing to do. And if you gain wealth because you want to attract respect and attention and that sort of thing, when you lose it, then you lose all of the respect and attention that you've gotten. People who cling to you because of what you have will not stay with you if you don't have it anymore, because their main purpose was to get these things from you. You can no longer provide it from them, so they no longer have need of you. So getting caught up in these things for the wrong reasons will certainly lead you into places where you're going to be piercing yourself with grief and sorrow. What you must do with your money? Command them to do good and be rich in good deeds. Be generous and willing to share. Whatever you have, remember, you are given these things because God has placed a sort of trust in you. So I've said many times on the program before that you should pay it forward, because really and truly you can't take anything that you would have earned with you. There are lots of non-Christians. Bill Gates, he gives a lot of his money. There are lots of people who give a lot of their money to charities to help people who are less fortunate, because they know that they have more than they need. What are they going to do with it? And what better and humane thing to do than to give it to somebody who does not have, so that they could enjoy some of the goodness of life. In this way, we will lay up treasure for ourselves, or they will lay up treasures for themselves as a firm foundation for the coming age, so that they may take hold of the life that is truly life. So when you do these good deeds, you lay up treasures for yourself in heaven. You lay up treasures for yourself where it matters. So I'm not saying that you shouldn't pursue money. I'm not saying that you should try to live like a pauper. But it should not become your focus, your main focus. Never let money become a master. You must always master money. I read a book sometime, Rich Dad, Poor Dad, and there's a principle in there: don't work for money, let money work for you. I think that sort of thing applies here. Don't become a slave to money, but enslave it. Let it work for you, or something to that effect. And the question is, why is loving money and what it can get you or do for you, why is it dangerous? Why is it talked about so sternly that the love of money is the root of all kinds of evil? Why is it that they talk about money in this really demeaning, derogatory way? Why is money so? Money is not bad, right? Money is just an inanimate object that is used to get you things. But they're saying that loving money is dangerous. And like we talked about in some of the scriptures that I read, it can get you into a lot of trouble and give you a lot of heartache. You can't take it to heaven. You can't take it anywhere with you. It is not going to be necessary. Apart from this life, it is not necessary. And it is the root of all kinds of evil. And it will cause you to break God's commands. If you love money and you don't have it, like I said, if you would have had a lot of money and then you lose it, you're going to want to get it. And how are you going to get it? You're not going to try to get it honestly, because it's going to come in small portions, and you're not going to be able to upkeep the lifestyle that you would have grown accustomed to. I'm reminded of at least 2 women that I know, local women, who were involved in business, and they were making their husbands were making a lot. I think one of them, the wife she was the proprietor of the business, and the other one, her husband, was the proprietor of the business. Then circumstances changed, and the money was no longer coming in like it was coming in before. And so they couldn't live the lives that they're accustomed to living. So what are they going to do? They're going to have to change their lifestyle styles to accommodate or to suit, or in order to regain that life that they grew accustomed to living. And they ended up doing some really horrible things, So don't be fooled. Don't let money rule you. And you should learn to live on little. That is why it's good when you don't have a whole lot. Learn to live on little. Learn to be content with a little. And if you get a lot, then you will know how to do with it. Because if you don't have it, if for some reason, because that's how money is, it's easy to go. In a split second, it can disappear. I'm also reminded of this man in the Bible. I don't remember his name. But remember when David and Saul were feuding, and David was running away from Saul. He ended up in a place, and he was like living in this pasture land and taking care of somebody's sheep. What is his name? Not very smart man. Anyways, so after a while, David ran out of food and that sort of thing. So he sent to the man, he said, I've been taking care of your sheep. If you look at it, nothing is missing. Nobody has troubled your stuff. We've been taking care of it. All we want is some food and, bread, milk, whatever, just something to eat. And the man sternly said, no, I'm not going to give you what belongs to me. If you want, get it some other way, work for it or something like that. And David was hurt. He was like, what? I was taking care of your sheep and I was taking care of your property for all this time. Nothing is missing. You have everything, and you don't want to give me some food for me and my men who are looking after you. And I think David wanted to, probably even did, put a curse, and he said, before the day is out, you're not even going to have these things to fall back on. And true to his word, the man died very shortly after. But his wife was smart, and she said, I think it was even before he died, she sent her messenger with food. She said, look, don't bother with my husband. He behaves stupid sometimes. I'm going to send you food. And she sent her messengers with food and so on for David and his men. But that didn't save the man. He ended up dying. So you get so caught up in these things, and then you either lose your life or it disappears. Like if you think about people who would have had everything, and they placed all their trust in it, and then then there's a big fire, or there's a big disaster, a natural disaster, and everything is gone. Everybody is left now on an even keel, on a level plane. Everybody is the same now, because everybody lost everything. Those who had much lost everything. Those who had little lost everything. And so you really aren't better than anybody. You're not different from anybody. You have the same blood running through your veins. You hurt. You are scared. Everything really is the same. So don't put your trust in something that is so fickle. It's so easy to get away from you. Money promises happiness, but it brings pain and ruin and destruction. And it is very, very uncertain. So you can't put your trust in money. So if you do have a lot of money, if you are blessed somehow with good fortune, how do you use it in a God-pleasing way? How do you use your money so that God is happy with what you've done, and He is willing to entrust more to you, because too much is given, much is required. And if God sees that you are doing well with the little that He's given you, then He's inclined to give you more. Remember the parable of the parable of the unjust man or something like that. He left some coins with some people. He left money with some people, different amounts, and he told them, I'm going away, do whatever you want to do with it. And one of them, he doubled it. One of them got a little bit more on it, and the other one, he buried it. And when the man came back now, and he said, what did you do with my money? And he said, you gave me this and I doubled it. And he said, okay, well, you'll get extra added to what you have, and you can manage it. And the other one, he said, what did you do with my money? He said, you gave me this, and I made this amount on it. And he said, okay, fine, good, you'll get some more added to it. And he asked the third one, he said, what did you do with the money? He said, I know that you are an unfair and an unjust person, so I buried your money, and here it is, exactly what you gave to me. And he's like, you waste, if you know that I'm unjust, why didn't you try to make some money on my money? You can bank it and gain some interest or whatever it is. So take what you have and give it to the person who has more. So you who had little and you didn't know what to do with it, have none now. And the man who had a lot and he managed it well, he was given more of it to manage. So when you do well with your stuff, then God's inclined to give you more. So how can you use your money in a God-pleasing way? First of all, like I said, realize and understand and be content with little, so that God will be willing to bless you with more, and not just be content with little, but manage and use it wisely. You can give out of your little. You're expected to give. Because if you have, even if it's a little, somebody might not have at all. So if you could share your little with somebody who doesn't have it all, then you're doing good. But don't put your hope in things. Put your hope in the God who provides these things, the God who provides money. See to it that you are generous. God asks us to be good stewards over the things that He's given us. So He wants you to be good stewards of whatever it is that He's given you charge of. Ensure that people are not needy around you. If people are needy and you have, and you're not giving, then you are a terrible person, And it wouldn't be bad if you were to end up in the same state as those who don't have, for you to feel exactly what it is that you're feeling. That you are there, and there's somebody who has a lot, and they would prefer to waste it, throw it away, give it to somebody who already has a lot, than to give it to you who need it, So I don't think anybody would want to be in that position. So whenever you see a situation, try to place yourself in it. And think about how you'd like to be treated if you were in a position or situation like that. And focus on eternal riches. Focus on storing up riches in heaven. How you store riches in heaven is that you do good. Those good deeds are what God is looking at, and those things is what makes him proud of you. And he says, okay, well, you deserve riches, the riches that really matter, the riches that count. So don't run after wealth. Instead, run after God. And you know, the funny thing about this is, it's ironic. There's a scripture, seek ye first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added on to you. So you don't have to run after wealth. Wealth will come to you when you have your priorities set straight. So you seek God and his righteousness. And we go right back to the first set of scriptures that I read to you, talking about what you should go after. And righteousness was right there. I think it was the first one mentioned. Righteousness was the first thing mentioned among them. Seek righteousness and peace and endurance and godliness. Exactly. In verse 11. But you, man of God, flee from all of this, the evil nonsense, and pursue righteousness, the first thing. And you're also obliged or warned to go after peace and joy and those good qualities, those fruits of the Spirit that come from the Spirit. And when you seek after these things, then God sees and he knows your need, and he will add these things to you. So you wouldn't want for anything as long as you're seeking God. So get your priorities straight. You don't have to go running after wealth and getting your priorities all tossed up and thwarted and, you know, missing a point and not understanding. You seek God. Seek him. Tell him. Let him know what your desires are. He knows them already because he placed them in you. You know, he created you. He knows your innermost thoughts. He knows everything about you because he's the one who made you, and he made you that way. So go after him. Try to please him. Do the things that he wants you to do. And all of these things, if you want to be rich and famous, then that's going to be, God knows your heart and your desire. And that's going to fall into place for you. Seek first the kingdom of God and his righteousness, and all these things will be added on to you. So that's it. The question now is, and this is what I'm going to leave you with, how can you better use money and things to bring praise to God? That's a question I'd like you to mull on, and that will bring me to the end of my discussion. I don't even know where I stand with time, but hopefully you've gotten a lot from. I have a little more time, so there's a little bit more that I'm going to have to, that I'd like to speak to you about before I go to the final or the closing point. Yeah, so the question I'd like you to mull over, this question is, do you love money? That's not a question I want you to mull on. This is a question that I'd like you to consider while you're mulling on this question. How can you better use money and things to bring praise to God? That's what I want you to focus on. That is what I want you to try to seek to do. And if you don't know how to do it, then you should seek God on it, because he has all the answers. He knows, and he's willing and ready to let you know how he wants you to do these things. I'd like to tell you about a little story well, I don't have enough time to tell you the little story, but it was just a silly thing about money. I'll just tell you that because I want to bring Independence greetings to you. That's another thing I was supposed to cover that I completely forgot until now. So the story is on Independence Day, and that will be my segue to my story, to my Independence greetings. On Independence Day, my mother told me that she was on Avenue of the Republic. She went to watch the float parade. I'm not much of a crowd person, so I didn't go. So she said she was there, and there was this young man standing next to her, and he's talking about, oh, look, all them foreigners coming to the country. I want some money or whatever it is. He's looking for somebody. One of them could take me. I don't mind eating tea time and thrill but let them ensure that my clothes are up to date or something like that. Young man, you know, very young. I don't think he's past 30. You know, she says he's a very young man. I don't think he's not 40. He's not even 35, I don't think. But that's what his focus is. He's saying, you know, give me anything to eat. I would eat tea time and thrill. But make sure that I have my clothes up to date. And he wants the latest brands and the latest, like Nike and, you know, the designer this and the designer that. I probably can't even tell the difference between the designer and the real, but whatever. But he's concerned about those things instead of fortifying his own body, putting nutrients in his own body. You can give him anything to eat, but ensure that you have the best things for him to wear. And like I said, I'd like to segue into my independence greetings. We are in the year of Jubilee, even though it's no longer May. We are still in a year, and we're going to continue celebrating. You notice I wear my red and my black and white. All I'm missing is my yellow and my green. So I was supposed to put my green and yellow eyeshadow, but I couldn't find it. So I'd like to send Independence greetings to everybody in Guyana, all Guyanese, near and far, at home and abroad, those who came to celebrate this wonderful 50th Jubilee celebration with us, and those who couldn't make it for whatever reason. I'd like to send out those greetings to all of you who are proud Guyanese, who have witnessed and experienced the celebration of Guyana's independence from British rule for 50 years. You know, it's quite a feat, and we are still working. It's a work in progress. We haven't reached where we would like to be, but we are working, and we are trying to achieve what many countries have already achieved in 50 years, but we are getting there. There's been a lot of progress. There's been a lot of good things happening in the country, and one notable thing is that we no longer flood, which is a good thing, right? So here's the change, here's the progress, here's the good things happening, and here's to our 50th independence anniversary. Happy Jubilee to all Guyanese at home and abroad, near and far. I think with that I've come to the end. I'd like to tell you, like I said earlier, you can uplift a copy of Reach for Life book. Just WhatsApp or text the number on your screen and find out how you can get one. We don't have any in stock right now, but within a couple of months we will have. So we'll just keep your names and contact information, and we'll let you know where you can get it. Daycare. The Queensland Church of the Nazarene has its daycare, and you can bring your children. It's one of the cheapest daycares you can find in town, and they're experienced caregivers there who've been there for 20 years, 22 years, 15 years. We have really experienced people who are there to take care of your children, and it's really affordable, so take your children there. That, I'd like to say that we should catch the vision, not the virus. Reach for life. The choice is yours.